A senior advisor to Latino Victory Fund. Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
On top of all the latest news in the Washington news, we wanted to also walk through that record there. What stands out to you as important to think about as Secretary Nielsen vacates?
Well, I first want to thank MSNBC. It's hard to watch the images, but when you hear testimony of the families, we are living in a moment of perpetual crisis. What I think is like a domestic shock and awe, right? This attempt to continue to be beating us down and trying to use the force of this administration to make us be submissive, right? To give up our hands and fight. Seeing the voices of these families really puts into perspective how dehumanizing these policies are, how callous they are, how inhumane they are. And so that is her legacy. There are children, there are individuals that have died under her watch. She was the cheerleader in chief in front of Congress, upholding these policies. That is the legacy, no matter what she tries to do now to either sanitize or scrub her background. That is what she is going to be upholding. So we need to continue to put the pressure now when there is potential discussion now to be had about who will be the next leader of this agency, that we need to put pressure on all senators, that they need to make sure that they will not support anyone unless they disavow these inhumane and callous policies. That is where the attention needs to be, because we have an administration that continues to get away with it because we've had a Congress that has now disavowed or separated itself from this administration and its policies. We now have a House under Democratic leadership that is willing to check this administration. We have senators, Democratic senators in the Senate. We need to also put the pressure, obviously, on the Republican senators to say that we will not support anyone basically that upholds these policies. And we have senators, Republican at that, who were against these family separation policies. We have them on record. So let's hold them to task as we look at the next secretary of this department. And so that is a real concern. That's where the energy really needs to be now.
And then how do you understand a situation where, on the one hand, the family separation policy was ultimately beaten back, and on the other, we see that the president still wants more, wants to go there, when the courts have basically held that back?
Well, this is the issue now, where what we've seen in terms of the reporting, right, where we know that this president, obviously, who Steve Miller has his ear, obviously, and is really influencing him deeply, they are putting all these acting secretaries and of divisions and departments. There's a consolidation of power happening under this one individual who's really dictating what this immigration policy is going to be. So we have a real crisis and a real problem here, and that's where, again, we need the Congress to step up and do its diligence and do its role. So we're, again, going to be putting pressure, raising the visibility, the humanity of this, humanizing, putting this perspective up of the families, children that have suffered, that have died, adults that have died also being held in these detention facilities, and the policies. We need to hear also from the presidential candidates.
Right.
We only have heard from one that has presented, and that's former Secretary Julian Castro. We need the others to speak out about how they are going to address this issue. This is not going to go away. We need to defeat Trump, yes. But then once we do have someone else there, a Democrat, what is going to be your vision of how you're going to try to bring back some sense of purpose and our values and our moral values being upheld and respected?
Melissa,
Thank you so much.
Mark-Viverito, thank you very much.